Hi, welcome along to Transfer Daily, the show that takes a look at players that have been linked with a January transfer move to Arsenal. And the big news today, of course, is that of Gabriel Paulista. His signing for Arsenal is imminent. He's on his way to the UK to have a medical for Arsenal to sign. And he said his farewells yesterday. We hinted at it yesterday when we spoke about it, that he'd been left out of the team to face Levante, the Villarreal team, to face Levante yesterday. Paulista was left out of it, which was the big telltale sign that he was going to be signing for Arsenal, because it was in nobody's interest that he played. Now, we've been told that he's flying in for his medical and will be joining on Arsenal, subject to a work permit. The price, or the fee, should I say, it's anywhere between about 10 to 14 million pounds. So Arsenal spending quite a lot of money on this guy, 24 years of age, not an international, Brazilian, but not an international, remember. But is very, very, very well thought of in Spain. They think he's a top-class performer who will get better and better. 24 is a good age as well. That means he's going to be a mature player. And Arsenal have identified him, and sort of he's been right under the radar, and they're bringing him into Arsenal. Now, of course, this is all subject to a work permit. Right now, this is a big sticking point on this one. He's not played for Brazil, remember, and he's not an EU national, which means that Arsenal need to go through an appeal process in order to bring him in, because normally to be able to get a straightforward transfer, you either have to be an international player for your country and have played a certain amount of games, or you have to be an EU national, or you have to be considered an exceptional talent. And that is what Arsenal are going to have to argue here in order to get this Paulista deal over the line. So it's still not over the line yet in true Arsenal style, but Arsenal must be pretty confident that they're going to be able to get through this work permit issue to bring him in. Now, the intriguing thing about this is that if, for some reason, this deal does not happen, Arsenal have a plan B. We're always saying that Arsene Wenger doesn't have a plan B. The plan B, apparently, is to bring in Alexander Dragovic. Now, Dragovic is a player that's been linked very heavily to Manchester United over the past couple of weeks. He's an Austrian player, a centre-back, of course. 23 years of age, currently plays for Dynamo in Moscow, and he's valued around about the £15 million mark. Now, he is seen at Arsenal as the other option, as the plan B option, if it all falls through with Paulista and they're not able to get this work permit issue sorted out. They're looking to bring in Dragovic as the player to replace him, which is very intriguing, because that means even the Winston Reid thing that we've been talking about, it looks like Winston Reid could be staying at West Ham after all, or maybe Winston Reid could be one of those last-minute deadline day moves if the Paulista deal doesn't fall, if it falls through. But it's obvious that Paulista is the player that Arsenal want. He's on his way to the UK to do his medical, and subject to that work permit, will be an Arsenal player. The other thing about this whole deal is the fact that Villarreal, when they announced it last night, remember they announced it, that Paulista is leaving, they also announced that Joel Campbell is going to be joining them on a loan till the end of the season. Now, Joel Campbell, who we've been told by Arsene Wenger, he's staying, he's not going anywhere, Campbell's part of our plans, etc., etc. It appears now that Joel Campbell is going. Joel Campbell is going to be going on loan till the end of the season, which I'm sure for Joel Campbell, he must be really, really disappointed about this, because another loan move for Joel Campbell. I mean, you know, he's had loan moves now to, where's he been? He's been to Lorient, he's been to Real Betis, he's been to Olympiacos, and now yet another loan move for him. Just hasn't been able to get himself into the team. And it's, I don't know, for me, it's a bit sad. I really, really wanted to see Joel Campbell break through into the first team, but it's not happening for him, and they're going to send him out on another loan now to Villarreal, and he'll be there till the end of the season. At least he'll get playing time. And how I understand it is that Arsenal are looking to give Joel Campbell a new contract, and that Arsenal have said to Joel Campbell, listen, you're in our plans, but you just can't get into the team at the moment, but you are in our plans, but you need game time. We need to get you out there. We need to get you playing games. We saw with Yaya Sanogo yesterday playing for Crystal Palace, the impact he had. He scored, assists, you know. These guys need games. Sometimes there's no point in them just stagnating on the line, and then when they do get on, everybody's expecting them to perform miracles, which doesn't always happen. And then people start thinking, is he ready? Sometimes it's good to go away on a loan deal and, you know, at least be playing. But in the case of Joel Campbell, really sad for him, because this is his third loan deal, and he must be thinking to himself, am I ever going to get into this Arsenal team? And it must be hard to keep lifting yourself as well. Every time you go away, new club, got to lift yourself, new system. You just want to be at your club, what you've joined. You just want to play there and prove yourself. But I hope Joel Campbell can come back off of this loan deal and be an effective player for Arsenal. Arsenal also being linked today to a defensive midfielder, and it's Kevin Grosskreutz. I hope I pronounced that right. My German's not that great. Grosskreutz is another one of his Dortmund players, plays for Borussia Dortmund. He's 26, and he's been valued at about £3.7 million. Now, Grosskreutz is actually a German international. He was in the World Cup squad for Germany that won the World Cup. He didn't actually play, but he's a versatile player. He can play as a defensive midfielder. He can also play as a right back. He can play as a he can also play on either wing. So a really versatile, you could call him like a sort of German James Milner type player. And Arsenal apparently interested in him and may put a bid in for him before the end of the transfer window. We've been told it'd be about £3.7 million. Dortmund, as we know, are having a terrible, terrible season at the moment. And there are going to be players at Dortmund that, you know, will be leaving no matter what, because it's very, very doubtful that they're going to qualify for the Champions League. We've already heard that Marco Reus is due to join Real Madrid. That's almost a done deal, we've been told. There's players like Neven Subotic, who's a very good defender. You know, they're going to, you know, Mats Hummels, they're going to find it very difficult to hold on to these players at the end of the season. But whether they're going to let any of these guys leave now, where it's vitally important for them that they move up the table and even try and get into the Europa League, or at least not get themselves relegated. I don't know. I'm not sure if they're going to be willing to let players like Grosskreutz go out. But Arsenal are apparently interested in bringing him in before the end of the transfer window. And talking of defensive midfielders, somebody who's been performing well for the Arsenal, and that has been Francis Coquelin. Now, Coquelin, we were told about a week ago that Arsenal were going to offer him a new deal. It's interesting reading today in the Mail on Sunday, they're saying that Francis Coquelin is holding out to find out what happens when Jack Wilshere comes back. He wants to know when Jack Wilshere gets back to fitness, will he figure in the team before he signs any deal? Now, on the one hand, you say to yourself, it makes sense. On the other hand, you know, it makes sense for the player to, you know, make sure that he's securing his future, because there are a lot of other clubs now, after those performances that Coquelin's put in, a lot of clubs in the Premier League and also around Europe are interested in Coquelin and bringing him in. But the Mail are saying that he wants to, you know, secure his future at Arsenal properly. He wants to be a play-in. He doesn't want to be out on loan. He doesn't want to be sitting on the sidelines. He wants to be the main man. And, you know, I don't know if they're just putting a story here. From what I understand, Coquelin would love to sign for Arsenal. He's been at Arsenal since he was a little kid. He's come up through the ranks with the likes of Jack Wilshere, etc. And Coquelin, I think, will definitely sign a new deal at Arsenal. And, you know, he's put in great performances. They've been brilliant, but he has to prove himself week in, week out as well. And that's the challenge. When you're playing for a big club like Arsenal, don't think you're going to automatically start. The challenge is to prove yourself, to prove that you should be starting every week. So I'm confident. I think that's a bit of a story being put out there, but I think the Coquelin thing will get done. Let's take a look at what you guys are saying today, especially about the Paulista thing. We've got here Gilby. Gilby says, I watch Villarreal games, and he says that Paulista will make Arsenal fans happy. So he thinks that Paulista is going to be a good signing. Vladimir, on the other hand, says Paulista is totally joke. So he's not too up for that one. Max C 123555 said, I've never heard of Paulista. Well, the thing I say with that is that we'd never heard of Laurent Koscielny when he came here either. We hadn't heard of him, and look at the great job that he's done. Under Wenger, Oz Sandwick says, under Wenger, Paulista will earn an international call-up very quickly, as most of Wenger's signings do when they sign for Arsenal. It gains them greater exposure. And yes, you're right there. You know, that it does put you in a whole new stratosphere when you're playing for Arsenal in comparison to playing for a team like Villarreal. No disrespect to Villarreal, but it's just a different level when you're playing for a team like Arsenal. Let me see if I can get a couple more here. Loads and loads of tweets. Lindsay Hazel says, I hope that Joel will come back stronger. And, you know, that's, again, what we're discussing. You know, it's really, really sad, this whole Joel Campbell thing. For me, anyway, you know, I really would have liked to see him this season get a little run out in the team. But as I said, you have to earn it. You have to earn it. And let me see if I can get one more finally. Trawling my way through this, you know, there's loads and loads of. John Melvin says, knowing Arsene Wenger, he'll be signing Matteo Destro on deadline day. Well, listen, I'm thinking to myself, is this the last signing? He said he wanted a centre back. I don't know. I think Arsenal will get this Paulista one over the line. That's the main one that they want. They needed a centre back. They needed somebody there. And then I think what Wenger's going to do is have a look around and see what's out there, what's a good deal to be done before the end of a January transfer window. But if you look at Arsene Wenger historically in January, he doesn't make a lot of signings, one, maybe two, and he's already made, you know, two now, the Bielik and Paulista, this will be two, but he doesn't historically make a lot of signings. But I think Arsene Wenger also is a sort of manager that looks around there and sees if there's any sort of bargains or gems going, and he will pluck that up if it's there. And, you know, as I said, there's lots of players that are out of contract at the end of the season. There's lots of players that are not getting game time at their club that Wenger might just think, maybe it could even be a loan deal for certain players. So we're going to have to watch this space. But Gabriel Paulista looks like, subject to a work permit, is going to be Arsenal's second signing of the January transfer window.